Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? Welcome to the weekend, everybody. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin 4-hour charts. Yes, Bitcoin on the 4-hour looking good here. We are above this, we're above the lower side of this area of resistance. We could draw in another sort of zone with an upside here, which we're not quite above, but we've got quite a few of those zones drawn in. So we'll leave that one and just leave our more major one up here that we need to get back above to basically put this whole downwards price area to bed, and then we can have a nice medium term upward move, even if it only gets us as far as into this area. But yeah, that would be the level that I pretty much think that would all happen. Obviously taking out these highs at 45,000, which a lot of people are talking about, would certainly give us the juice we need then to get up basically through 47,000. But yeah, we can still very easily see some pullbacks. All I would say about any pullbacks here, especially if they only really come down to this support zone around 42,000, is that would almost just be too obvious a buy, and it would just look too obvious. It just looked too easy if that was to happen. So I almost would suspect if we did come down to this $41,000 area, that potentially we would actually move lower and come down to the next area around 39,000, just purely on a basis that it would just look all too simple for us to come down here, get bought back up. I feel like they could try and push us through this potentially through this support trend line here, and then yeah, we can see some low prices. Then that would be the ultimate buying opportunity. The flip side is that we don't even do that because that's too obvious, and we just catapult straight up, which is perfectly fine in the context of an ascending triangle getting its resolution between 2/3 and 75% of its way through, or 2/3 and 3/4 if we're going to keep it in a consistent terminology. But yeah, if we get above here, then yeah, we can see that nice acceleration to the upside. And then yeah, over the next few weeks, we got to decide, are we putting in a lower high in this $52,000 to $58,000 level, or are we basically going to new all-time highs, get above 58.5, 59,000, get through that area. If we then obviously see a $60,000 handle, it would be hard to see us not get pushed up that extra few $1,000s to get a new all-time high, and then see what where price discovery can lead us. That would be the obvious trade. I'm sure there will be a lot more excitement and attention in the market at that point. But obviously we've got Finance 1.0, we've got the inflation, we've got geopolitics, we've got potential recession at some point, but probably not going to be this year. We've got a slowdown in Q2, end of Q2 this year. All sorts of fun things that could actually have an upside bias or a downside bias. If credibility gets lost in the Fed starts the US starts weaponizing its dollar even more than it has been, or other countries start doing some other funky stuff, it wouldn't take much, obviously, for that extra bid into Bitcoin that there probably already is now, based on past events, recent past events, yeah, to catapult us higher. So yes, could be interesting times. Stock markets had a brilliant close. S&P here, brilliant close up into this area. I mean, if we get above 46, that's it. All bets are off. We should just be going, well, you could even say a double top, but I don't particularly believe in double tops. I just think usually when you get back up to the high, you continue above it, or when you get back to the low, you continue below it. On occasion, you don't, and then you do get a double top or a double bottom. But more often than not, you do just carry on. Because the trend is your friend, and if you're going up, you keep going up. You don't just stop at any particular arbitrary level. Obviously, there is a level that you do stop at, but obviously it's not necessarily going to be as obvious as you may think. Anyway, but yeah, so this is obviously a really good close. People are going to look at this at the weekend and think, right, we need to decide what we're going to do, especially because obviously we're above that 200-day moving average as well. So yeah, interesting time to stock market. Nascoin though, which some people like to look at a Bitcoin following tech stocks more so, has got this area still to negotiate. So if we do have a bullish week, we can get back into this area and things will start to look pretty good. But again, that is at resistance though, so there's no realistically saying that we are going to break through. We could get a decent pullback. We have come quite far quite quickly, so we are at major resistance levels. To see a pullback from there wouldn't be too untoward. Gold looking better here though, as we were saying in yesterday's video, so potentially looking at, we are just going to price in consistent more inflation. Also gold will catch a bid from obviously the distrusting in the fiat system, but I think mainly this is driven by the fact that I feel like the Fed is not going to do what it needs to do, and asset markets are going to continue, inflation is going to continue, and so obviously gold will benefit from that. The 10-year, look at it go, putting the squeeze on here again. Obviously, yeah, just putting the squeeze on. I mean, inflation, like I said, potentially going to run higher here. Who knows what that is going to happen. Also, potentially pricing out that recession this year, which obviously would obviously reduce this down as people fly into bonds. So there's potentially a bit of risk on inflation, all sorts of fun stuff. But yeah, the selling of bonds is real. I can't think what chart it is, but the chart of the Fed rates for the last the 10-year rates for the past like however many years, we are at basically a trend line. In fact, we can just look at it on here. We're basically at sort of the top side of a trend line that if we break up, then yeah, I mean, new paradigm. Basically rates can actually have upside. I mean, I won't draw it on because it won't necessarily be perfect, but you can basically kind of see we get rejected about this point all the time in history. That is not to say we can't go a little bit higher, but if we basically go a lot higher and break out, then yeah, I mean, just end of Finance 1.0, done and dusted. This is literal squeaky bum time for Finance 1.0. This is obviously a weekly chart, so it's not like it's going to necessarily happen next week, but if we break above and continue above here, then we've obviously broken the long term. I think Raoul Pal calls this the chart of truth, which is basically the chart of basically deflation, showing that deflation is the persisting overall fact. Obviously debt, demographics, and whatever the one is, what is from increased technology, which obviously increases deflation. But yeah, we are obviously looking at this is the point of inflection. So yeah, we do continue down, and then yeah, we just continue with this craziness, or we do basically have a new paradigm, which would be just the wreckage of Finance 1.0, and would have to be looking I don't know. It doesn't even bear thinking about what happens if this did go up to like 4, 5, 6, 7% or whatever. It doesn't bear thinking of. Let's just put it that way. DXY though holding pretty firm in a tightening range here. We could probably draw a trend line that if we break, we'll see another nice leg to the upside. Pretty obvious trend line to draw in there. Not so obvious one to the downside, but yeah, to the upside, that is it. We get above here, an acceleration. This is absolutely disgusting for the world economy though. The whole world basically needs to use dollars, and they're becoming more expensive. Their debt in their own currencies becomes increasingly unaffordable, and it just puts a squeeze on the America knows this, the Fed knows this. They got to try and weaken this. They will try stuff. I mean, they kind of got a get out if yields continue to rise, because then they could whack the dollar with yield curve control. They're talking about giving out stimulus checks so people can afford fuel. I mean, it's all ridiculous, really. It's ridiculous. It's a clown world we live in. But nonetheless, they have to try and make this come down. As to whether they will be successful or not, we shall see. But if their main purpose is to get this down, they can get it down. It's just obviously what sacrifices they'll make elsewhere. Ruble still hanging around this area. I mean, if it breaks above this area, then fills this gap. I mean, we'll just draw it in. It's pretty obvious. We break above here, we should just continue back towards where it was before. It's cracking an area here, a gap as well. Break above there, we'll just fill it in just for bants. But yeah, get above here, then yeah, basically that will probably signal that that Russia is fine. Like I have said previously, that if Russia does default on its stuff because it can't afford its dollars because its ruble is so weak, ultimately credit markets will come back pretty quickly, and it will probably be good for Russia overall. It will not be good for Western financial institutions, obviously, that are exposed to this. I mean, just look at what Lehman's did when I think it had about an 800 billion balance sheet, whereas obviously Russia has something like it's in the trillions on the balance sheets of financial institutions worldwide. Oil still is flirting with this mid-range. Can it break to the upside? Will it get rejected at well, this is a purely speculative trend line. I've literally just drawn it there just for the sake of it. We'll have to get a confirmation of a high before we can. I mean, we could potentially have had one down here, but who knows. But yeah, can we break above this high, see how high we can get, or do we break below this low, see how low we can get? They're pretty much the levels now to get a direction on this. But structurally we know it's up, but it's come very far very quickly, so we know how things like that ultimately usually end. Ethereum Satoshi parent is still hovering around here, trying to bull flag it out. Obviously got a projected target up to here, ETH 2.0, and the merge obviously going to be a catalyst. Probably Vitalik on Time Magazine was somewhat of a catalyst for this move as well, drawing attention to it, Ethereum. So yeah, Bitcoin dominance as well. Yeah, flirting with this this resistance, old support, new resistance. Will it get rejected and come back down? Will it break back above? We shall have to see. Obviously, we want it to break down below. A lot of altcoins are going on a bit of a run here. So yeah, if we do break down, then yeah, we could see another leg down and another leg up in altcoins. What else do we want to look at? There is not too much else here. Let's have a look at those stochastics. It is the weekend. The overall trend is up, so potentially we get a pullback over the weekend. You usually get counter trend moves over the weekend. 4 hour pointing down, so we'll have downward pressure from there. It has 10 hour turned back down after trying to turn back up. We've got to wait and see. Yeah, looking to turn back down from a high level here. 12 hours still pointing up though. Daily did turn back up as well. 2-day looking good, 3-day and 5-day. I mean, it's obviously these strong 2-day, 3-day and 5-day, and also the weekly that have dragged this up even higher, even though it was looking to turn back over. These are obviously the higher time frames, the more powerful ones. We will obviously get a pullback, but I mean, we are looking good here. Like I said though, we can potentially get a pullback at some point, and into this resistance area, into this old support area, old resistance, new support area would be perfect. And like it just would seem like it's too perfect in the context of just the formation, but hey, they never know. You do never know. Enough of the market may look at it and decide that they do want to buy there if we come there, but that's the thing. Do we just catapult straight on upwards? I think a lot of it will depend on how stock markets open next week. We've obviously had the major options expiry, so it depends whether people wanna how heavily they want to hedge that downside in the options market, as to whether that get hedged by dealers and then we do get pushed back down, or if they don't, if they want to go light, then yeah, we can push higher. And then I'm sure they will start to hedge above once we get either at or above $4,600 in the S&P. So yeah, interesting times. Hope you guys have all had a great week and got a great weekend planned. Remember, this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.